Once upon a time, there was a wise and compassionate Zen master named Master Wu. He lived in a small temple in the mountains where he taught his students the ways of meditation, mindfulness, and living in the present moment. One day, a young man named Li came to the temple to visit Master Wu. Li was a wealthy and successful businessman, but he was also very unhappy. He was always stressed and anxious about the future, and he never seemed to have enough time for the things that were important to him. Li asked Master Wu if he could teach him how to be happier and more content. Master Wu smiled and said, "Of course, but first, you must learn the value of time." Li was intrigued. "How do I learn the value of time?" he asked. Master Wu replied, "I will teach you a lesson." He led Li to a nearby river and said, "Stand here for a moment and watch the water flowing by." Li did as he was told, and he watched the river for a few minutes. Then he turned to Master Wu and said, "I see the water flowing by." Master Wu nodded. "Now tell me," he said, "can you catch the water in your hands?" Li reached out his hands, but the water flowed right through them. "No," he said, "I cannot catch the water." "That is right," said Master Wu. "Time is like water. It is constantly flowing by and we cannot catch it. We can only experience the present moment." Master Wu continued, "Many people are unhappy because they are always thinking about the past or the future. They dwell on their regrets and mistakes, or they worry about what might happen tomorrow. But all of this is useless, because we cannot change the past and we cannot control the future. The only thing we can control is the present moment." Master Wu looked at Li and said, "If you want to be happy, you must learn to appreciate the present moment. You must live in the now." Li thought about what Master Wu had said. He realized that he had been wasting his life worrying about the past and the future. He had been forgetting to enjoy the present moment. Li bowed to Master Wu and said, "Thank you for your teaching. I will never forget it." Li returned to his home and his business, but he was a changed man. He learned to live in the present moment and to appreciate the little things in life. He became happier and more content than he had ever been before. One day, Li was invited to speak at a business conference. He was nervous at first, but he remembered Master Wu's teaching about living in the present moment. He took a deep breath and began his speech. Li told the audience about his meeting with Master Wu and the lesson he had learned about the value of time. He spoke about how important it is to live in the present moment and to appreciate the little things in life. The audience was captivated by Li's speech. They were all inspired by his story and his message. After the conference, Li was approached by many people who thanked him for his wisdom. They told him that his speech had changed their lives. Li was happy that he had been able to share Master Wu's teaching with others. He knew that if more people lived in the present moment, the world would be a happier place. One day, Li decided to visit Master Wu again. He wanted to thank him for changing his life and to ask him for more wisdom. When Li arrived at the temple, he found Master Wu sitting in the garden. Master Wu smiled and said, "Welcome, Li. I am glad to see you." Li bowed to Master Wu and said, "Thank you for teaching me the value of time. My life has changed so much since I met you." Master Wu smiled again. "I am glad to hear that," he said. "Now, tell me, what have you learned about time in the years since we last met?" Li thought for a moment, then he said, "I have learned that time is the most precious thing in the world. It is something that we can never get back, so it is important to use our time wisely." Master Wu nodded. "You are correct," he said. "Time is the most precious thing in the world. It is also the most fleeting, so we must cherish every moment." Master Wu continued, "There are many ways to cherish our time. We can spend it with the people we love, doing the things that we enjoy. We can also use our time to make the world a better place." Master Wu looked at Li and said, "How do you want to use your time?" Li thought for a moment. Then he said, "I want to use my time to help others. I want to teach them what I have learned about the value of time and the importance of living in the present moment. I want to help them to be happier and more content." Master Wu smiled. "That is a noble goal," he said. "I am sure that you will help many people." Li spent the rest of the day talking to Master Wu. He learned a great deal about the Zen philosophy of time. He also learned more about how to live in the present moment and to appreciate the little things in life. When it was time to leave, Li thanked Master Wu for his teachings. He promised to use his time wisely and to help others to do the same. Li returned to his home and his business. He was now dedicated to using his time to help others and to make the world a better place. Li started a foundation to teach people about the value of time and the importance of living in the present moment. He also started a mentorship program to help young people to achieve their dreams. Li's work has inspired millions of people around the world. He has been featured in magazines and newspapers, and he has appeared on television and radio shows. He has also given talks at universities and conferences. Li is a true teacher and a role model. He is living proof that it is possible to live a happy and fulfilling life by cherishing every moment. He became known as the Zen Master of Time. He helped millions of people to live happier and more fulfilling lives by teaching them the value of time and the importance of living in the present moment. Living in the present moment is a skill that takes practice, but it is a skill that is worth developing. When we learn to live in the present moment, we are happier, healthier, and more successful in all areas of our lives. If you want to learn more about living in the present moment, there are many resources available. You can find books, articles, and even online courses on the topic. You can also talk to a therapist or counselor who specializes in mindfulness. Living in the present moment is a journey, not a destination. There will be times when you slip up and find yourself lost in the past or the future. But don't beat yourself up about it. Just gently bring your attention back to the present moment. With practice, you will become more and more skilled at living in the present moment. And as you do, you will experience more joy, peace, and contentment in your life. Here are some tips for living in the present moment. Pay attention to your breath. Your breath is always happening in the present moment. When you focus on your breath, you are automatically focusing on the present moment. Be mindful of your thoughts and feelings. When you notice that your mind is wandering to the past or the future, gently bring it back to the present moment. Appreciate the little things. Take the time to savor the taste of your food, the feel of the sun on your skin, or the sound of the birds singing. Be present with the people you are with. When you are talking to someone, really listen to what they are saying. Make eye contact and avoid distractions. Spend time in nature. Nature can help us to ground ourselves and to connect with the present moment. Go for a walk in the park, sit by a river, or hike in the woods.